Okay, so let's go over how to create a scatter plot again. I'm given a table here. This table comes from my notes, and it tells me the number of hours somebody studies and the test score that they got. So just as a refresher, the first entry in my table is my independent variable. And the second entry in my table is the dependent variable. And that makes sense. The test score you get depends on the number of hours you studied. So I've already gone ahead and I've done a couple things. I've put my y-axis here and my x-axis over here. And I've also given them titles. So your independent variable always goes on your x-axis. In this case, that's the number of hours studied. And your dependent variable always goes on the y-axis. So the test score. I'm also going to go ahead and give my graph a title. So I could call this the number of hours studied versus the test score. Perfect. I'm also going to go ahead and put some scales on my graph. Now, when I put a scale on my graph on my x and y axis, I want to make sure that I fill out my graph as much as possible. So over here, let's put our test scores from 0 to 100. Just like that. Let me fill in the middle numbers as well. And over here, I'm going to put the number of hours studied. So I'll put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there we go. I've got my scales labeled. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting my points down. So this person studied 3 hours and got a test score of 80. So I'll go to 3 on my x-axis, and I'll go up until I get to 80, and then I'll put my point down. And I'll put a little check mark to tell myself that I have graphed that point. I'm going to do the same thing for the next point, 5 and 90. Check mark. 2 and 100. Check mark. 6 and 80. Check mark. 7 and 90. Check. 1 hour and 50%. 2 and 65. Now, if you need a refresher on graphing points, make sure you see the previous video about how to plot ordered pairs or coordinates on a Cartesian graph. Next one is 785. Next one is 1 and 40. And the next one is 7 and 100. There we go. So that is how you create a scatter plot given data.